But
Yeah.
what about the no being he was taken out?
So the no-no became a no-no, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we texted about this yesterday, or like the
Thursday. Yeah.
the day when he was pitching. So I can see why the Pirates management pulled Skenes even on only 99 pitches thrown with a no-no in the seventh. Skenes is still a young kid, and the Pirates need to protect their investment. We as fans and old school baseball fans want to witness greatness, right? Rarely now we see complete games. What more a no hitter?
Oh, breaking news.
What
We have
happened?
breaking news.
Here we go again with the plus minuses there.
When you beat me to it, I was like, oh shoot, we're totally
You
gonna.
have to be quick. You have to be quick. In game, real time, it's hard to like make that bang call 100%. Hello everyone, we are back again. This is Saturday Sliders. Today is Saturday, July 13th. I'm Almar and I have Armando right beside me, and let's talk baseball.
Let's go around the bases with this week's topics. Walmart. Let's talk. Let's start with Paul Skeens. He's been the topic the last 2 weeks, deservedly because he's been having a just a phenomenal rookie season. But he's been on the headlines, and the last 2 weeks he's been kind of like people have been tossing. Should he be the starter of the All Star game? Well, it was announced a couple days ago that he will be the All Star starter for the National League. Also, he's been also it was a controversial um, topic this week when he had a no hitter through 7 innings and they pulled him out with 99 pitches. He had 11 strikeouts, but anyways, the manager pulled him out, and it was still considered a no hitter because it was a combined no hitter. But Omar, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the being pulled, or do you want to start with the All Star
It,
selection?
it's like choosing between the good and the bad, right?
Yes.
We'll start with the good one because the Rook, Paul Skeens, congratulations for being the National League starting pitcher. This kid is phenomenal, striking out batters like nobody's business, right? And I want to see a Rookie of the Year MVP and Cy Young. Not sure if anyone has done that in baseball. I haven't checked. So,
I believe
but anyway,
Fernando Valenzuela did it back in
okay.
1987 or 86, something like that. So
Great, yeah. It'll be great to see another one, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to get enough wins towards the end of the season, right? But anyway, great to see Skins be named as the NL starting pitcher for this year's All Stars. And for your concerns about the no
well,
hitter,
let me get in there before we talk about the being pulled. Is it deserving? I think we talked about this when we were having our discussions about Ellie De La Cruz
yeah,
being a starter, right? Because Mookie Betts is injured. I think it's the same thing, right? This is a star game. People want to see fans want to see the stars play in the game, and it's an exhibition that is towards the fans. So it makes sense for Paul Skeens. And what is even I'm like kind of like waiting to see when is he Nets pitching because it's kind of like he's a unicorn. He's kind of proven he's the Nets phenomenon in baseball. So he's kind of like so it makes sense that but it's a deserving. It's kind of hard to say, right? Because he is electric and he's 71 or 81 or something like that. But arguably, there's been other pitchers who has had a better season, like Suarez from the Phillies, and also the
Chris
rest of the
Sale.
Phillies. The rest of the Phillies staff,
Yeah,
Chris Sale,
Chris Sale, yes.
You can make. He had a slow start, but then month of May and June he has been lights off, and literally he's the one who has stepped up for Atlanta Braves. He's he makes a good case that he should be the starter, right? So it's a deserving. I think there's been other pitchers who have started the season and who are more deserving, but this is the league wants their young stars to be showcased, and Paul Skenes is that.
Yeah, like I said, it's a popularity contest, and if you want fans to watch the All Star during the weekday, you want the
Exactly.
biggest names on there, right?
Right. So, but not that there's been more deserving pitchers, but he's great. So,
Yeah.
and I'm
Mhm.
excited to see him pitch. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
what about the no being he was taken out?
So the no-no became a no-no, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we texted about this yesterday, or like
Thursday. Yeah.
the day when he was pitching. So I can see why the Pirates management pulled Skenes even on only 99 pitches thrown with a no-no in the seventh. Skenes is still a young kid, and the Pirates need to protect their investment. We as fans and old school baseball fans want to witness greatness, right? Rarely now we see complete games. What more a no hitter? So it's frustrating for teams to pull pitchers who are dominating the game, and maybe that is part of the reasons these pitchers are getting injured at astronomical rate. Right? We talked about this. They don't allow them to be stretched enough early, so when they do, the pitcher's body cannot adjust to the strain quickly, right?
Yeah. It's obviously we talked about this early in the week and when it happened, and obviously I was upset, and I'm always upset when they get pulled, right? Because I think like there's a pride in starting pitchers. They want to go deep. They want to show their dominance, and especially when they have a perfect game or a no hitter, they want to show that they're the most dominant player, right? So I would have been great if I would have preferred if he would continue in the game. If he allows a hit, uh, pull him out, right?
Yeah.
Because in the eighth, if he allows a hit, like pull him out, right? So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, but the fact is, or if he has a long stretch, like 30 pitches in the eighth or something, like yeah, pull him out, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think you're already winning the game, but for some reason, organizations are afraid at the 100 pitch mark, especially with young players. And yes, there's been a lot of injuries. Yes, uh, Steven Starford comes to mind, right? Somebody who just always deals with injuries. Mark Wood comes to mind, right? Like
Yeah.
he was dominant, and Mark Pryor, like, and all these different players that deal with injuries. It's real, like, but I'm also in the believer of old school mind is that the only way that you build arm strength is by pitching. It's by being stretched out. It's by going deep, right? So I do I do believe that. So it's very hard. So I understand both topics, but this is good for for Paul Skeens because he's becomes a topic, right? He's been the topic, and now because maybe they saved him, and that's another thing. If he would have pitched like maybe 120 pitches, maybe he's not the starter at the All Star game,
Yeah.
right? So, but he's become the topic. This is good for him in the short term and long term. But let's not remember, like you said, just a year ago, June of 2023, he was pitching in college, right? So he
Yeah.
has climbed through the ranks very fast, and but it is sad to see because it's almost like the starting pitching, it's a thing now, right? There's not a lot of start pitchers that go five or six. They're kind of like, oh, that's good. Let's go to the pen, right?
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents. But obviously, like I said, he's been the topic. So all right, let's move on to different stories. We have kind of different teams going in different opposite directions. We have the New York Yankees who have early in the week they were 5-16. They have won two. They have gone 2 out of 3. So a total of 7 out of 17 games record since June 5th. They are struggling. Um, and there's panic mode right now in New York, and and also we have another team, the San Luis Cardinals, who arguably are the hottest team right now. They have a plus 500 record in the last 2 months. They're second place, no, third place in the wild card. They're above 500 after a brutal month of April. And there's other teams like the Dodgers and the Mets, another team that have turned around the seasons. Omar, what do you say about this hot streak from the Cardinals and this skid from the Yankees?
With all the struggles the Jays are having this season, seeing the Yankees fall flat on their faces lately put some smiles on our faces. They had a great start, like you said, to the year, even with Garrett Cole injury and the early season struggles at the plate from Aaron Judge, right? And however, the Orioles were always right there with them. One stumble and you don't hold the top spot in the AL East. In their last 10 games, I believe they were 3-7, but I believe they won yesterday. So
Yeah, they did.
but they won against the O's yesterday, but the Reds swept them. The Yankees did.
Yeah.
The Reds swept them. So I have no doubt Yanks will be right up there when everything's said and done. They will find a way to get another big splash before or on the trade deadline, right? So like I said, they better find their game quick, and it starts this weekend against the Orioles. Good first win against the Orioles last night. Was feisty, but whew, fireworks, right?
I feel like there's more of a. I'm not. I saw the highlights. I don't know everything that happened. I didn't watch the game, but I feel like the Yankees they're just in panic mode right now, right?
Yeah,
Their season is turning going the opposite direction. Clearly, I think they were one of the first teams to the 50 wins of the season, and all of a sudden they just can't. They lost a lot of games, a lot of series, right? So I think. But if I have to say which one is the bigger storyline? I think it's the Cardinals as the biggest storyline. We might if they had a just a subpar start to the season, or maybe start the season the way they're playing right now, we might be talking about them first place in the division,
that is correct.
right?
Yes, yeah. And
So
I
I
picked them
think
to be the central winner, right?
yes, you did that, and we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But yes, that is true. Like we might be talking about them differently, right? So to me, but we talked about this before. Like you definitely don't win the division or win the season like in the beginning in April, but you can definitely lose it,
Lose them.
right? So, but that's why you have a good start. That's why the important is because injuries do come in the mid season. Like so the Yankees are dealing with injuries right now. The Dodgers are dealing with injuries. Um, so it you do hit a wall because it's a long season. You do, but that's why it's important to have a good season, right? To start hot.
Yeah.
So when it comes to where you hit the slump or injuries, you can survive, right? You can go a 500 record in August or July because you started very hot. So I think that's why it's important to start good. And but I think that the Cardinals they're just coming together as a team, and I like what I see from them. So
Yeah, it's great to see that St. Louis Cardinals, like we've talked about this a million times during our episodes. We want those Cardinals. Like it's great for baseball
yeah,
to see
it's
those
yeah,
Cardinals like winning, right? Because we're
it's
used to it. We're used to
yeah.
it, right?
And so exactly, it's good for baseball when the Cardinals are playing, right? And also, like I said, like the Mets have turned around the season, and now like the New York fan base are going wild because they might make the playoffs, both teams, and it's just kind of like I'm already tired of it.
It's a false hope.
Yeah. So perfect. And our last topic of this week, the All Star selection was announced. We're good to go for Monday night. But Omar, who is the snub in this year's All Star? selection.
Well, you're not gonna love it because your picks were not picked for the All Star, even reserves, man.
Yeah,
Holy, have you seen this? Willie Adames not in
yeah,
the All Star.
yeah.
Brett Rooker.
Yeah, Brent Rooker. I talked about. I said he was my one of my selections, right?
Yeah,
So
All Star outfield
like,
starter. You said right.
yeah, I said he should be the starter. Like, look at this. He's batting 281, 18 home runs. Like, that's an all star, and he didn't even make a reserve. He's not even a
No,
reserve,
not
right?
even a reserve.
He's not even reserved.
That Willie Adames one
Okay.
really bugs me because I do
Yep.
understand there's a lot of good shortstops right now, but
Yeah.
you have to include these
Yes.
players. You have to.
And obviously, Brent Rooker, he plays with the Oakland, Sacramento, Las Vegas A's, right? So, like, no one knows about him, right? Like, I think I talked about them when I picked the Ace as my curtain call team of the weekend. It's like, who, like they have a 500 record. How am I picking the Ace, right? But it's kind of like I talked about Brent Rooker, right? So like no one knows about him. I think another team, Christian Walker of the Diamondbacks. He's
Yeah,
not even reserve. Like he's
no.
batting 262, 22 home runs, and 66 RBIs. Like he's not even a reserve, right? But I think the biggest one, how can you leave Ronel Blanco? That guy
Oh,
kind of
okay.
he goes out there. He's already had uh,
I know,
a
no.
no
Uh,
this year, a no hitter against the Blue Jays to start the season, right? So he's 93, 2.5, 53, 5.3 ERA with 103 innings pitched and 95 strikeouts.
yeah,
That is almost one strikeout per inning, and he's not even a reserve. So I just think like there's definitely some snobs, and you can tell like they're going younger in the
yeah. Do
All-Star.
the do baseball have a problem with including everyone from each team on the All Star? Do you think that's a problem then?
It could
Maybe
be.
not, right? Yeah, could be, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, because they want to include each one player for per each team, regardless of their standings in.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
so
yeah. So, but there's definitely some snobs, right?
mhm,
So,
yeah,
and I get it. Um, it's a popularity game. It's a division. It's for just for excitement, right? But definitely, there's definitely some better options out there to
yeah.
be
Maybe not.
selected, right?
Maybe you don't vote for them, Armando, next time because they don't get in.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think it's also we don't know like because the All Star selection is by the fans, but the reserves are by their
Peers.
peers and coaches, right? So it could be kind of like well Blanco, he could be kind of like that. They just want him to rest a couple days, right? So it could
Yeah,
be just like we don't know all the stuff in the back, but there's definitely some the players that fans don't know about.
yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Unless you're a baseball head that you just kind of like who's Christian Walker, right?
Yeah. Who is that guy?
Yeah. So, well, that is it for around the bases. If you like, please like this content, follow, and subscribe. Thank you for watching our channel. Well, let's go with a special segment since we're about the half point of the season. Let's do our picks review from the beginning of the season. Our picks, division winners, World Series champions, and Cy Young awards. Armor, do you want to get it started?
You want me to start?
Yeah.
All right, all right. For our here are here were my AL picks before the start of the season. For the East, I had the Baltimore Orioles. I'm still looking good, one game ahead of the Yankees. The Central, I had the Kansas City Royals, and for the West, I had the Texas Rangers. For my American League wild cards, I had the Toronto Blue Jays, Houston Astros, and the Seattle Mariners. And for the pennant, I had the Blue Jays over the Rangers. What a homer pick here, Armando. And terrible pick here. The Jays are not even remotely near being competitive this season. I will take this big L on my forehead right now. And for my AL MVP, I had Aaron Judge for my Sayang, I had over Minnesota Twins.
How's
So far it's looking good for most of them, but the Blue Jays pick.
right? How's your Son Young pick? How's he
Uh,
doing?
oh, it's not looking good. Billy over, hey.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not looking good. It's Billy over right now is he's a 8-5 win 4.14 ERA.
right.
So I better stop picking Sayang right now, right?
All right. Well, my AL picks. I picked the Yankees, Twins, and Astros. Wild card was the Mariners, Jays, and O's. And my pennant was the Yanks winning. Had the Astros and Yankees playing, and MVP Vlad and Pablo Lopez for my Cy Young American League. Um, Pablo Lopez has not looked like the last two seasons. It's also the Twins are winning, right? So it's kind of like, but he's not the dominant pitcher that he was the last 2 years. He has an 8-7 record, ERA of 5.11. So it's like holy cow. So something is wrong mechanically. But what I see is like he's not consistent because when you look at he has 104 pitches inning and 121 strikeouts. So those are good innings. So that means that he goes deep, right? But I think it could be kind of like he's not consistent. He's not putting it together, right? So Vlad MVP. He had a slow start. He has turned around his season. He's actually he's producing right now. It could be the one of the good things that's going on for the Jays right now. So, but right now the way Judge is, he's a front runner, right? And second, if injuries or he has a slump, Soto is probably the runner up in that category, right? So I just don't see even if any Vlad or any other player is not going to catch up to Judge just because he's having a better season statistically than 2 years ago when Judge was the MVP and he had 63 home runs, right? So he's in pace to beat those numbers. So I think last time I checked, he was on pace for 67 home runs. So
Yeah.
I think he's a favorite, and obviously rightfully so. He's having a phenomenal season. Um, I think the only thing that stands out for me in this my picks is actually the Astros. They had a terrible start to the season. There was panic mode. They were DFA players early, sending players down to to the AAA. So, but they have turned around their season slowly. No one's really talking about them. They have turned it around. Now they're actually in a wild card contention. Um, th- no one is really running away from that division, so they could catch up. But definitely, I think that's the only thing that stands out to me is the Astros. Obviously, we know we cover the Jays, so we know the Jays struggles, but definitely the Astros is the one that stands out.
Yeah,
I thought I thought they were
let
gonna just have a better season. That's
yeah, let's acknowledge our big L right now. We oversaw Cleveland Guardians.
that is correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams in both in the National League and American League. They're just playing a lot better, and that
Yeah.
Cleveland is one of them.
Yeah. So that's our biggest oversight during the start of the season. Like,
Correct,
yeah.
and I think a lot of teams they just overlooked. I think
Mhm.
everybody thought that it was in the baseball media. They would thought they were just going to have a sub 500 record, and they're
Yeah.
not. They're obviously the best team in the American League right now, and they're just they're very good, top to
Twenty
bottom. Because
21 games above 500.
Yes,
Hey,
and and crazy enough, they have the fourth lowest payroll.
true.
Yeah, so they're doing it with um, they're not spending money and they're just depending on their scouting reports and their farm system, and they're doing it. So, but like from top to bottom, because the Giants just had a series last weekend with them, and it was a very competitive series going back and forth. And the bullpen is impressive, the starting rotation is impressive, they're hitting, the lineup is just impressive. So,
Yeah, they put these hitters put the ball in play. They're hard to strike out. These hitters from Guardians. So
right,
every time you go against them, it's hard to even pitch around them.
right. But I think that's just the AL Central is it was overlooked
Yeah.
by everybody because at one point the Detroit Tigers were in first place, Minnesota, the Royals, and Cleveland, right? So they and that division, I think like three or four teams are all above 500. So
Yeah. Well, why did you talk about White Sox?
they're in the Central. I thought they were looking at. I thought they were a AAA team. Where are they at? I don't even know where that is. Let me see.
How's my over
27
500?
and 69. Holy cow.
How's my
31
under
games
how's
behind
my under 50? How's my under 50 right now?
You're good, man. You're good. You are good. So I was 60 games, right? So we're still good, man. Halfway through the season, we're
Yeah.
good. So all right, well that is for American League. Let's go with the National League.
All right, here were my National League picks before the start of the season. For the East, I had the Atlanta Braves, and the Central, I had the St. Louis Cardinals, like we were talking about them earlier. And for the West, I had the LA Dodgers. For the National League wild cards, I had the San Francisco Giants, Philadelphia Phillies, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. For the pennant, I had the Braves over the Dodgers, and I had the Braves winning this pennant. The Braves had been decimated with injuries to Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider, but they keep finding ways to win. However, this Phillies team caught you and I by surprise, and I'm sure everyone else was as well. We knew how good this team is, but to be this good is good for Philadelphia. For my NL MVP, I had Shohei Ohtani. And for my Sayang, I had Tyler Glasnow. Shohei is really special. Doesn't matter if he switched leagues. He is raking the ball. The only question, Armando, is without him pitching, will he win the MVP over someone if the stats are really close? We shall see, right? We shall see. And for
I
my
think that's oh sorry, go ahead.
yeah, for
I think that's there's never been a DH who has won the MVP. We might see the first one. I think Showtime might be the first one to win an MVP award because his numbers are just they're just lights out. Like
yeah,
right, like he is he's having a better season than he was. Like and he's arguably he's having his best offensively uh, career year. Right, so I think that if it's gonna be a year, I think it's gonna be this year with Shohei.
yeah. Well, it's hard to win MVP for DH anyway, because for the longest time we only had DH for American League, right? So, but
That is correct.
he'll be the first one, very first one for the NL DH. Eh?
Yeah, and I don't see so many people not talking about it, right? So I think like I don't think with Shohei because he's a unicorn. A lot of people are just not are not even blinking an eye because he is a unicorn and he's been a MVP before. So I just think he's people don't have an issue as years pass, right? Because
Mhm.
David Ortiz, when he was having his in his prime, he was always kind of like that was always the topic. I was saying, well, should a DH win the MVP? Should a DH make the Hall of Fame? Right. So he never did. But he always had that stigma. But you don't see the same with Shohei.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe because he has played before, right? So
That's true. Yeah, he was phenomenal pitching for LA Angels. So
right,
the stigma is gone. He's not mainly a DH until now. Until now, right?
right.
So yeah, for my World Series, I had Braves and Jays, and like I said, I will put this huge L on my forehead. I picked the Jays to win the World Series, so I'm just gonna go home right now. Pack it and go.
Right. That's hilarious. Yeah, you know what? But you're not the only one. There was a lot of people in the baseball media who were actually high on the Braves. I mean, on the Jays,
Jays.
right? But I don't know why because they arguably they had a better team last year. A lot of teams walked away from the Jays, or they didn't resign, or they didn't spend money, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of I don't know what baseball world was thinking about the Jays because
Mhm.
obviously this is not the same Jays as we see in the years past,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? So we forgive you, Omar. For my National League picks, I the Braves, Brewers, and Dodgers as my division winners. Wild card with the Giants, Phillies, and D-bags. The pennant, I had the Braves versus Dodgers. Braves winning. Matt Olson as my MVP and Zach Wellen as my Cy Young for from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Obviously, World Series was the Braves over the Yankees.
You still have a
Uh,
chance with that one. You still have a chance with that one. Mine is completely whack.
um, yeah, I don't think the Braves are as deep because of the injuries. They're hanging around more than just hanging around. They're competitive, but they don't have that the roster there. Everybody was scared. Right now, everybody kind of like, oh, we can compete against this team, right? So Matt Olson is having a just a solid season, but not a MVP like season, right? So he's yeah. So he's contributing to his team, but they're not. I think they're just playing better as a team than actually have individual statistics, right? So I
Yeah,
think that's what it is.
next season, Armando, maybe we don't pick Cy Young winners because our Cy Young winners, like my
Well,
Tyler Glasnow is now injured.
well, Zach Willen is sits in five with ERA of 3.33. Yeah, 73 innings, 75 strikeouts. Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, we apologize. We apologize for those.
Well, he might have a. You know what? Last year, there's been years past when there's not a dominant pitcher. Uh, there's some categories that it is the the voters can look past, right? Like last year, Blake Snell, he only had 11 wins, but he still won the Cy Young award, right? So
Yeah.
or sometimes it's like I think like Tim Lincecum, his first season or his first Cy Young award, he was actually I think he was like 14-14. Not a great record, but his innings pitched, his strikeout rate, his ERA was low. So like there's some things that voters can look past.
Yeah, because we're used to having pitchers before winning 20 games, 21. That's the
Yeah,
norm.
yeah,
And if you don't reach that plateau of 20 wins or 21 wins with 30 or more innings, 30 or more starts, then they're not winning. They're not winning unless, like you said, they're really dominant, right?
yeah, exactly. But there's also like obviously there we are having dominance pitchers from the Phillies, Chris Sale, right? So there are dominant pitchers going on. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Mm.
But definitely, um, the Braves are they're playing good team baseball. The Brewers are still sticking with them. I think they're just they have cooled off because they had a hot start of the season, but they have a 5 game lead in their division, and the Dodgers they're dealing with injuries, but they still have a good lead over the division. And I think within the Padres, Diamondbacks, and Giants, they're just kind of beating each other up. So I think they're just helping the Dodgers stay with that lead.
Yeah. Like right now looking at the standings, Armando, who are your pennants for both and the World Series?
I'm still going with the Yankees. I'm still sticking with the Yankees. Yes, they don't. Their offense is not as dominant at the beginning of the season, but they still have the pitching staff to make a World Series run. They have the defense to make a World Series run and the bullpen to make a run. So right now it's just the offensively. Um, I think the Yankees are in trouble going forward after this season. I think that literally they're in trouble. I meant to talk about this in the around the basis, but when you talk about you're spending so much money on one player, on Judge, well, you don't have enough money to surround him, right? And we're talking about offensively. But if they sign Soto,
Toto.
the, now you have Judge and Soto. Like you're just gonna have AAA players around them then. So I think they have some really hard decisions coming up. But this year, they have enough to make a run, right? So they have the pitching with Gary Cole. He's had a couple good starts, So like he's just trying to find his rhythm now, right? So he has made 3 starts since he has come back, and he'll he'll pick up. Um, he'll return back to his old form, right? So, but I think that the Yankees still have National League. Oh man, there's so many good teams in the National League, right? So, I think I think if I had a chance, I would pick the Phillies.
Yep.
The Phillies, just because of the injuries, the Dodgers, and the injuries that from the Braves. It's going to be hard for them to make a deep run. And
Yep.
right now, obviously, the Phillies are everybody's healthy, right? So, so that's what. What about? How about you?
For the American League pennant, I probably, yeah, like you said, Yankees will be up there. I think it's a win or bust this year.
Right.
They have to go all in this year, like you said, right? They have to go all in this year. But for them
Good
to be
point.
success, yeah, for them to be successful in the postseason, they have to win the AL East. They cannot be in the wild card. They cannot be on the wild card. So they have to have that bye to have a rest day
Right.
and wait for that wild card teams to face them. But I'm picking the Cleveland Guardians to win that pennant. Like we mentioned, this Guardians from top to bottom, they have a great bullpen. It's really hard to win close games in the
Right.
postseason when you're facing an elite closer. For the National League, like I said, Philadelphia Phillies, it was an oversight for both of us. We didn't see this Phillies team winning this much of a game. We know they're good, but they're winning in great passion right now. So I'm
Right.
picking them over the Dodgers because the Dodgers will be up there even with all the
Right.
injuries. They'll find a way
Yeah.
to get players.
Right.
So they'll be
Oh
up
yeah.
there,
They're
but
always Dodgers are ruthless when it comes to the trade deadline. They just, for some reason, they keep their all the top prospects and they're able to make trades and get. I don't
I can see the frustration in your face.
know. I hate the Dodgers. I don't know how they do it. They don't give up their top prospects and they're able to make trades for top players.
Yeah, their GM has dirt on some other GMs, right?
Exactly. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but I'm picking Phillies over the Dodgers, so but I think whoever comes out in the East will win. Uh, who comes out? in the AL will win the World Series. So either the Yankees or the
Oh, that's
Guardians. So that's my bold statement. So we'll see.
right. Yeah, that is actually very good. So, yeah, that's really good. I really like the top four pitchers of Philadelphia. So I think when it comes to October baseball, you need your starting pitchers,
Yep.
and both Yankees and Phillies they have that starting pitchers to go deep. So, but definitely, I think if the Phillies come out of the National League, I think the Phillies will take it.
Okay. So
Growing
you
pains, and they lost last year, right? Like they've been close a couple of times, so I think that you gain experience, and I feel that they have gone through the growing pains, the Phillies, to win it all. So
Phillies versus Guardians then, right?
yeah, oh that'd be good.
Be
Sign me
good.
up,
Yeah.
like yeah, sign me up. So all right, well that is it for this week's topic. Let's get into our Blue Jays and Giants updates. For the Giants updates, what can I say? Like I say, this team is just playing with my emotions, right? So we, it's just they're up and down. They're inconsistent team. They just can't seem to put it together, right? They'll have a hard like they'll go through a winning streak. Like they beat the Dodgers, the Cubs who are very good, like well, like above 500 in contention, but they beat the Cubs, they beat the Dodgers, they beat Atlanta in Atlanta, and they have a back and forth series, very competitive um, series against the Cleveland, and they come home to face the Jays, and literally they were just one pitch away from being a sweep. Like the Jays could have swept them, right? So because of one wild pitch, right? So it's kind of like, and yeah, so it's just they can't seem to just put it together. They just can't seem to put it together. So they're up and down, and there's a lot of rumors going on right now. And yesterday, Farhan, our general manager, went to the media, and he normally you can't get an answer from him because he always avoids questions. But he said like if we keep dropping from the standards, we're going to be sellers, and that is kind of like whoa. Giants are never sellers. It's like they're like, and so that is wild to hear that from the front office saying like we're going to be sellers at the trade deadline if we keep losing from the standings, right? So when we started the series against the Jays, we were just one game above under 500, and we were tied for a third place in the or just behind the third wild card spot, and all of a sudden like we're 3 games under, 3 games under 500, and it's just like holy cow. So, but I think the biggest storyline is the message is because last week everybody was excited, right? Like the last 2 weeks, there was a lot of optimism with surrounding the Giants. We're like, oh, holy cow! Like we're getting our starting pitchers back. Everybody's coming back healthy. The injuries, yes, we see the light at the end of the tunnel because of all the injuries. Ruby Gay is coming back. Alex Cobb is coming back. Kyle Hurston is coming back. Right. Blake Snells is coming back. And we're like, okay, like we're gonna be good. Right. Like there was an assignment. It's like second half of the season, it's gonna be our half. And we're gonna be able to compete. And all of a sudden, from the rumors are like, well, what's the point if we're gonna be competing for a third wild card spot? Why are we having this uh, expensive roster, right? So and older players. So let's get rid of the older players and the big contracts, and let the young. If we're gonna be just playing with our young stars, look, don't get me wrong, they've been great. Alex Ramos has, I mean, yeah, Ramos has been selected to the All Star. Webb has been selected to the All Star, so like it's great. But like this week, there were some moves. Um, there's been trades. We sent one of our players to. There was a trade for cash to the Cincinnati Reds, and our our shortstop was DFA. Because now we're just gonna say like, well, we're just gonna ride with our young players, right? But the biggest question now is kind of like they're kind of Blake's now had a good start, and he's gonna start on Sunday, and they're hoping to for him to hurt because they're saying like the rumor is that they might trade Blake Snells because what's the point of have keep paying him $30 million if we can just do it with our young team and just compete for the third wild card spot. If we make it, we make it. If we don't, we don't. Right. So there's just a lot of hits, a lot of kind of like, well, what's gonna happen in the next 2 weeks? And even Bob said, um, Melvin said like, well, we need to. It all depends how we do against the Twins. If they lose games against the Twins, they're going to be sellers, right? So like, there's a lot of expectations from this weekend to see they're going to be buyers or sellers. So to me, that is disappointing to me. I don't want that to happen. As a fan, it's like no, like we're the Giants. We just need to make it to the playoffs and we can compete, right? And I do think the Giants, if this pitching staff is able to stay together, they can. The Diamondbacks last year, they proved just get us just get into the players, and and anything can happen in the playoffs. And obviously, the D-backs can had a deep run losing in the World Series. So I think the Giants could be that storyline this year with the Blake Snell, uh, Webb, Kyle Harrison, Ruby Gay, and Alex Cobb. Easily a six-man rotation can compete in the playoffs. But that's not the rumors, the rumblings is we're hearing from the front office. So that is kind of like one of the biggest topics. Another topic that has been circling this is just the starting pitching. Um, the starting pitching is a big question. Yes, we're getting, but one of the biggest storylines was Jordan Hicks. He did really good, but he's fatigued. He can't get past the fifth and fourth inning. At this point, he's not a starting pitcher. He's actually just a long reliever. Yeah, he's lost a couple miles per hour. I think he's throwing like 92, 93. He's not throwing 98, 97 no more. And he said like I am fatigued. So I think that spirit of being a starter, it's kind of taking a toll to his body. So there's talks about him going to the when Alex Cobb and Ruby get back, that he's gonna go back to the pen because he's just very fatigued. So I don't like that because I think Ruby Gay and Alex Cobb they're gonna be in a pitch count anyways because after Tommy John surgery. So why move him? Just if those three pitches can go 4 or 5 innings, that's still helping the bullpen out, right? So I think those are kind of like negativity, I guess, from the Giants this week. But everybody's very happy with Ramos making the All Star. I've been talking to Roman since spring training in our episodes. A player that has been always sent back to AAA and being called up and sent back the last 3 years. But he's proven that he's an encouragement to just not just to the River Cat Sacramento AAA team, but to all AAA players that keep kids sitting down. Like if you just go down, stay positive, and work what they want you to work in AAA, you're gonna get your chance. And he has proven it's not a bad thing to be sent back down to work on things. And all of a sudden, he he's been the storyline for the Giants of this year, and he is in he's being rewarded by all his hard work making the All Star. So I think that is my updates for the Giants.
Yeah, it's pretty tough for your Giants and your fans because you're used to winning. You're used to winning World Series or nothing, right? So, but
Yeah,
we love to see more teams going into the playoffs with this wild card. But you're in the bubble right now. You're 3 games behind the third wild card spot, which is you're teetering between should we sell or should we not sell, right? So, like you said, if things go wrong this weekend against the Twins, you'll see a better idea of what
yeah,
your team will do, right?
correct. And so we'll see, and obviously we'll see when as we get closer to the trade deadline to see what the Giants do, right? So
Yeah, we're bad luck too. Our
we picked a
podcast is
long
bad
time
luck
to
than
be
the
starting this
Giants and the
podcast.
Jays.
That's all right.
We need to call it the Yankees podcast or the Dodgers podcast, right? Curse them.
Exactly, man.
For your
Oh,
Blue Jays, for your Blue Jays update, center field Gold Glover Kevin Kiermaier was placed on irrevocable waivers, whatever that means, because it's really funny. Because it's really funny. Kiermaier was playing in the outfield against your Giants when the news broke, right? So he was making highlight plays in the outfield there, and we get news that he was placed on the waivers. But it'll be sad to see Kiermaier go. Such a great player, but he is struggling at the plate this season.
right.
We will see some influx of young prospects come in now with the Jays really at the bottom of AL East
Yeah.
actually. So pitching prospect Ricky Tiedemann was pulled from his last start with a pitching arm strain, another setback to his early career. Ricky T cannot catch a break this season. Hopefully it's minor injury and we see Tiedemann back on the mound. It will surprise me if they don't move it will surprise me if they move one or both on the trade deadline. I'm talking about Bo Bichette or Vlad. Bo was actually interviewed by your local sports.
Yes.
Hey, you saw that,
I,
right?
I was just
Eh,
gonna say about that.
and it did
He
not sit. It did not sit well with the Jays fans because
no, it did not. It's there. He was the storyline on this series. Bull was the storyline, and they were asking him, our beat writers and our Giants media, they were asking him questions, and they saw him like, especially on the Monday game, no Tuesday game when they Jays lost. Everybody, all the Jays um, players left the field fairly quickly after they lost the walk off, and Bo was the only one still on the field watching the Giants celebrate. Like you can see that, like wow, he there is something going on with the organization and Bo. He's definitely not happy uh, with the Jays right now, and I think his body language is saying he needs a new start,
yeah, yeah. I
right?
can understand your each player's frustration when you're not winning. You all players wants to win, right? But a player has to like put their best feet forward. He was
Right,
struggling. I think he's still struggling this season, but
right,
to
yeah.
say that in the media, you didn't dodge any question. He was like, "Oh yeah, it'll be nice to play for San Francisco or somewhere else because I love winning." I'm not quoting that. I'm not quoting that, but that's what it came out to, right? He
No,
did that.
yeah.
So
He was just kind of blunt. He was just like, yeah,
mhm.
right.
yeah, cause,
So
yeah, 'cause when Vlad was interviewed a week or two ago, he wanted to stay with the Jays. He said, I wanted to sign long term here." That's a great, even if it's not true, that's a great answer, right? But you don't you don't say I'm willing to go somewhere else, right?
yeah. Well, I think you go around there. You can like players says like, oh, I'm a Jays I'm a Jade right now. I'm getting paid. There's different way. Like he was just
Yeah.
kind of like, well, yeah. He was just really blunt. He was just like, yeah, well,
Yeah, he was like,
oh,
"Oh, I haven't really walked around San Francisco in the
yeah,
Bay
like
Area, but I'll check it out."
he was like, it would be great. And I think, obviously, the Giants DFA make him mad, right? So, and with our shortstop problems the Giants are having, and so and the Bo has been kind of rumored like all season with the Giants, and he comes. So like I think players were the media was just kind of like oh let's talk to Bo, like we don't get to see him or play, but but I think that's the biggest story. Like wow, like there's definitely they're not Jason and Bo, they're not on the same size, same
But
side.
but we
So
talked about it before with your Giants, right? I don't think Bo will help you
no,
go over the top this season.
no, I don't think that's where we're kind of like, yeah, we like the name, we like it. His dad was a great player as well, right? MVP, but like you can't say the Bo is better than what we have right now, right? Like he's
Yeah,
Bo is struggling, but like fielding wise, our young talent, like Fitzgerald and and the other shortstop, well, converted shortstop, there are you can say what we have right now is better what Bo will offer, right? But
yeah,
like if you're gonna make a trade right now, like it's because he is struggling, you don't have to give up maybe a top prospect,
that's true. Yeah,
right? So, but like I think Giants media the it's like no, like he's not he's just a big name, yeah, maybe for selling tickets, selling jerseys, like because he is a big name that could be helped, but like on the field itself, like I think we have better. I think our prospects are you can say arguably they're better than both for this season. For this season, right?
yeah.
So,
What are your
uh,
biggest needs actually? If you want your Giants to make a push towards the postseason, what's your
I
biggest
think we
need?
just don't have that power hitter. I
Okay,
don't think that we have that bat in the middle of the lineups to scare anybody, right? I think we have good talent, but we just don't have that Bryce Harper, that Judge, right? Or like that Soto.
that big
Yeah,
thumper,
like
right?
I think that's really we do have the bullpen. They're getting tired, but we have the bullpen. We have the starting pitchers, and we will have right. We have the numbers offensively, right? Like those stat camps numbers, right? But like we just don't have that power hitter, right? I think there was a lot of like because no there hasn't been a Giants to hit 30 home runs since Barry Bonds, right? So that there was a lot of time that this might be the year where Chapman, Soler, like they was like Michael Conforto, like because he's healthy, like they're gonna one of those players are gonna have 30 home runs and they're not even close. They're
Yeah,
not even at 15 home runs, right? So I think that's the thing. Like we're just missing that power hitter.
yeah. We talked about this like on our previous episodes. What are your thoughts if maybe call LA Angels about Mike Trout?
Yeah, I think this is the time. I still feel like if anything, um, if we're any team, I think the time to get Mike Trout, is right now because you're not
Yeah,
gonna get him when
he's
he's
healthy.
healthy and he's putting MVP numbers. You're not gonna get him. You're gonna
No.
have to spend triple or quadruple to get him, right?
Yeah,
But like right now, you can probably get him on a discount.
that's true.
So, anyways, yeah, it was very interesting to talk about Bo this week. Um, I'm not really sure. Like, I think the Giants fans or media are okay with it. We're like, but not to give up top prospects.
No,
But, but so you really think they're gonna move on from Bo and Vlad, or
not. I'm
they have to
like
restart?
I said, I'll be surprised if they move both of them. But if they will move one of them, it'll be Bo.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be Bo. He doesn't look the same Bo
No.
is. Yeah, so if they move him, it'll be Bo. I think Vlad will sign long term with the Jays.
What about Kevin Gossman? What about the
Yeah,
pitching? Like,
well,
will they get rid of? Will they move on from him?
what I heard from the news this week is the ones that are signed still with multiple years, they won't trade them, like Bassett,
Right.
Barrios, but Gossman and Kikuchi, they probably would be willing to listen
Right.
to any trade. So if Gossman will be on top of every team's list, and Kikuchi's been pitching well, like 13 strikeouts. When the Jays lost to your Giants, he strike out 13 batters.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
so
think we were surprised too. Like, who is this guy?
yeah, your Giants got lucky with that wild pitch, or else you'll be crying with
Yeah.
the sweep, right?
Oh, trust me. We were talking about it. Giants fans were talking about it. It's like, holy cow! It was just one wild pitch, really?
Yeah, like we were texting back and forth because we saw the schedule, right? I was like, okay, your Giants will have a 3 game winning streak, right? So game one, okay, check game one. We gave you that, and then all of a sudden you just blew it, right?
Yeah, we're just inconsistently. It's just that, yeah, yeah. So, it's going to be interesting to for the next 2 weeks when the trade deadline comes closer. What the Giants and Jays do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that we're more frustrated with the upper management with the Jays
yeah,
anyway. I think it's time to both of them to go, the GM and the president. Because look
yeah,
at the Guardians right now, right?
yeah.
Both of them came from there and they're winning now.
I think the same here. I think the Giants fans and beat writers are saying like, look, if the Giants are sellers, someone needs to answer to this, and ultimately that is Farhan, our general manager, is like, well, like you brought in your coach, you let go of Bochi, you brought in your the new statistics driven coaches, and that failed. They had one good year, right? The 107 win
Yeah.
team, and all of a sudden you bring all this, you spend the money, and you refuse to spend money, but all of a sudden this season you brought in a new coaching staff, and if you end up selling, well, ultimately he has to answer for this, and it might be the time for if he sells, it might be the time for him to go because
Yeah.
he has had in his tenures he has had six, 70, 6 or 5 bad seasons.
Yeah, it'll
And
be interesting for the Giants and the Jays come like you
yeah,
said after the All-Star break and before the trade deadline. Jays and Giants have always been with a good relationship with trades, so we'll
yeah.
see. It'll be interesting. We'll have an interesting trade deadline talk if if something big happens between Giants and Jays, right?
Exactly. So we'll see. Perfect. Well, thank you for watching another episode of Saturday Sliders. Until next week.
See you next week.